We got a rich diet of news this morning. I guess I wonder what your view is on the Clubhouse number, and whether or not you have the sense that they are a player who are going to stick around for a while.
Well, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of valuation. And of course, it started off, I think, at $100 million earlier this year. So it's a real aggressive move, especially by Andreessen Horowitz, which is one of the big backers of the company. I think it's a lot. And a lot of these players are getting into it, like Facebook. Obviously, Twitter's already there. It's going to be a very competitive space. The question is, will someone buy Clubhouse, for example? Or will it be able to compete on its own the way YouTube did for years and then was ultimately bought by Google? I've always been worried about this company because it's so easy to copy. And it's something that also has usage issues after the pandemic when people are home and they're lonely. As I've said many times before, you've seen the numbers dive, actually, in terms of uptake. That said, it's a great product. So it's kind of it kind of hits a sweet spot of what people like to do, which is this social audio, essentially, and also events audio, I guess. But it seems like it's a feature to me. I could be wrong, but I think standing on its own is really hard. It's one of the reasons I'm using Twitter Spaces despite a lot of the tech glitches, which I think will get better. It's because my interest graph is on Twitter, and I suppose people's interest graphs are on Facebook. And so that's where I would worry for them at that. But that valuation is enormous, and it makes it harder for someone to buy it at the same time. So they've got to win by innovation the way Snapchat and others did.
Right, and Kara, on that point, right, will Clubhouse let itself be bought? There was reports that Twitter was looking at that $4 billion valuation. A lot of people scoffed at that number. What do you make of it, that kind of valuation with no Android app, no revenue as of yet? And what would it take for, the founders and the investors behind Clubhouse to, step back and say, okay, maybe this is a feature, not a product?
Well, I don't know. Obviously, they have confidence in it, and they feel it's a high stakes game of poker here. It's either very reckless or it's very smart. If it's worth $16 billion someday or $100 billion, everyone's going to say, look how smart they were. It feels like a single feature to me, but maybe they could do other things. But I do think with the end of the pandemic, people are dying to get out into the real world and have real conversations. And so I think events will be back. Obviously, we announced doing our event again in late September. And so, the downloads are high, but they're lower than they were. And so we'll see what happens. And we've all seen, John especially, and I have seen these come and go, these apps become very popular and then not popular. And so it's a question if they can add things to it that make you want to stay there. But they have great groups on that site. So we'll see. I mean, if people get used to using it.
Yeah, every feature has hopes of being a platform, but then again, every platform looks like a feature early on. So let me put it to you this way, Carol. What would it take for you to move your podcasting empire to one of these platforms? Maybe Clubhouse, maybe Facebook, maybe Twitter Spaces. I mean, is it the ability to charge, which Clubhouse is now rolling out on a limited basis? Then maybe it's more like an event. You could do...
Charging would matter.
Yeah,
charging would matter because that's all I care about. No, but
you want to diversify your revenue stream, sure.
Sure, I'm very diversified, John. But yes, I think it's like I remember when Facebook video came, and they're all like, "Come over here, Kara, because it's good for you." I'm like, "Why?" And they never made the case to me why it was good for me as a business or someone who makes a lot of content, except that I'd get more famous, and it was sort of a weird. I remember when they had that pitch to me, and so what would be the pitch? It would be I could do events on there, and they would go beautifully. But there's tons of great software. We did an event on, I forget which platform we did, but there's lots of software to be able to do events now. By the way, I've been on dozens of them over the course of this pandemic. So. What do I need them for? I kind of I think of Ben Thompson. He's not on Substack, and he and I had a great Twitter back and forth this week about that and why he isn't. He uses WordPress, he uses Stripe, I think it's Stripe, and so many others. But other people are on Substack, and they really like it for the convenience, But every Substack looks the same. But I like Substack, but why would I go there except if I could make money? That's the kind of thing I think a lot of really and I'm not a big content creator. I do pretty well, but I think if you're a big content creator, why would you do that? Probably.
I hate to break it to you, Kara. You're big. You're big.
Okay, well, you know what I'm talking about. I'm no Kim Kardashian or Khloe Kardashian, but it's an interesting question, and the question is, can they make it into a platform where you could really do business? And except, otherwise, it's going to be pummeled with advertising and things like that. I just don't know what their other business is.